What is the oldest building in GTA 5? We got more from our boy, the mildly interesting subreddit as a YouTube channel.
There are over 2,000 buildings in Grand Theft Auto 5, but out of all of them, which one came first? Because one of them had to have come first, right? In every city in the world, there is some building somewhere that was built before all the other ones. So if we were to look at every single building in Grand Theft Auto 5 and try to guess which year it was built based on its architecture, what it's made out of, and where it's located, which one?
Okay, couldn't you just solve this by atting one of the GTA devs or writers? They would happily tell you now. Like, GTA's been out for over 10 years.
Would be the oldest, because it's definitely not the skyscrapers. Some of those aren't even done being built yet. It's probably not the swank.
Oh yeah, wasn't there a meme that like one of the wasn't there a meme that that skyscraper was going to get done when GTA 6 comes out or something?
Built yet. It's probably not the swanky Hollywood mansions either. But what about this Roman Gothic cathedral or this rundown corner store? That's exactly what we're going to figure out today, and we're going to do it by walking through every single neighborhood in Los Santos one by one, finding all the oldest looking buildings and putting them head to head until we figure out which one is the winner. We're going to start our journey down here in a little area called La Puerta.
Dude, the GTA 5 playable map is so small. It is like there's such a small area that's actually the city, and the rest is just like the hills.
Here in a
where nothing happens.
Little area called La Puerta underneath the overpass just inland from the airport. Walking
I mean, GTA 6, isn't it set in like Miami or something?
around here, you can tell the whole area has seen better days. Rundown warehouses with broken windows. Old
Holy dude, look at the fans, bro. It's literally it's a GIF.
broken windows.
It's not even modeled. It's a GIF. Rockstar, please fix. Look, my God.
Rundown warehouses with broken windows. Old
Holy.
cinder block fences.
Next gen is here.
With faded commercial signs. I mean, listen, any neighborhood that they're willing to build an interstate highway on top of obviously isn't one that the city sees a lot of value in. So this area is past
Game from 2013. Okay.
its prime, for sure. But the question we're trying to answer is, out of all the buildings down here, which one is probably the oldest? There are a few good candidates, like this 3-story brick warehouse or this 2-story brick warehouse, but I think our best bet is going to be this one right here, and the reason I think this is the oldest is right up top. Check out these weird windows that make the roof look like shark's teeth. I always thought this was just a thing that they did in old movies because it makes factories look menacing, but it turns out this was a real thing with a purpose. Back before electric lighting was cheap and commonplace, factories would use sawtooth roofs like this to allow lots of even lighting into the workplace all day long so that people would be able to see while they made 7 billion door handles for Henry Ford every single day. Now, these types of roofs have been around since the mid-1800s, but combined with all the other architectural details on this building, like the relatively clean brickwork or these wider flat top windows, which are sort of a later invention, it's more likely that this building is from
It's actually really smart, but like, what if there's like a lunar eclipse?
the 1910s.
You wouldn't be able to see anything, right?
Or 1920s rather than the 1800s. Now, there's a couple of important things to note as we continue on our journey here today.
What if the sun isn't out? What if it's like overcast?
Number one, when we're
What if the sun rises from a different direction?
looking at these buildings, there are lots of newer things added on to them that we have to ignore, like these ventilation fans installed on the windows or the electrical service drops on the wall. We need to try and see through to the core of each building and not get tricked
How often do lunar eclipses occur? Sometimes.
by things that might have been added later on, so we're going to be ignoring all that stuff. And number two, building techniques and architectural styles are things that they aren't strictly in
As a factory, I can confirm it does work like that. Okay, we got a professional in chat, boys. All right.
one decade or another. They bleed over into many eras beyond just the ones they were most popular in. I mean, heck, you can find sawtooth roofs being built today, like on the new Beyond Meat plant, which funnily enough,
Not gonna lie, I would unironically love a GTA game with the art style of San Andreas, with loads of mechanics and gameplay depth. I don't care much about the graphics. Yeah, I think we're all kind of chasing graphics now, but I always think gameplay and mechanics are way more important.
is outside of Los Angeles. So it should go without saying, but
With the exception of games like Resi 9, because I feel like Resi 9 had to graphically look really good because it is so linear. It's so weird with Resi 9. Like, I recently got the Speed Demon achievement. And you got to beat the game in under 4 hours, I think. And I did it at like 3 hours, 58 minutes. It's crazy to me that it took them years to make that game and you can beat it in 4 hours. Like, if you know what you're doing, obviously.
You know, we're making super broad generalizations based on the most likely era that these techniques and styles are from. It is not a perfect
Also, Capcom, please let us skip the orphanage section. Please.
science by any means. We're going to head south from here in search of more old buildings towards one of my favorite locations in the game, Los Santos International Airport. And it's clear right away that this place, it just not...
I really hope GTA 6 has creepy stuff like Bigfoot and aliens. Oh, don't worry. You'll have amazing YouTubers that are really reliable and honest, like Mr. Boss for the win, uncover all of them.
as old. You've got modern...
Dude, I remember when Ned Luke that voiced Michael in GTA was just like, Mr. Boss for the win, like, shut the fuck up.
giant glass hotels, less modern.
Hang on, let me see if I can find it. That's his name, right? Ned Luke, Mr. Boss for the win. Oh, here we go. See if I can get it. Am I going to get blocked by... Okay, now I'm not blocked by network security. Holy based plebbit. Yeah, here we go.
They said that GTA 6 going to be made in Vice City. How do these people get all this information on what's going to be what? People, do you not understand? Do not believe anything that you see on the internet from, you know, Boss Man, Fuck the World, or whatever his name is, or any of those guys. Don't listen to those guys.
Boss man, fuck the world.
Guys, they have no inside information.
Dude, Take-Two are such crafty people. They basically paid actors that were not known for anything, so they probably had to pay them a fraction of a well-known actor, and the game made them famous. They are so crafty, it's unreal.
Giant, less glass hotels. This thing that looks like it could be from the Jetsons. This all makes sense, of course, right? Most of these buildings are copied directly from real life. And Los Angeles
Ned Luke's a goat. Yeah, he is.
International Airport, which this airport is based off
They all are. All three of the main guys.
of, was totally renovated in the 1960s. So, you know, it might be tempting to say, oh, well, I guess this area is from the 60s, so let's not worry about it. However, look what I found all the way over here on the east side
Pyro trying to voice act in games. Wait, look, I'm working on it, all right?
of the airport, hidden way up in a corner. Another single-story brick warehouse and a second one right behind it with a sawtooth roof.
I'm
At
working
the
on
very
it.
least, someone was building things near the airport a lot earlier than when the fancy new airport buildings were put here. What we need to figure out is
Bro, I managed to watch 15 seconds in the time I spent making breakfast. Yeah, banned.
whether this building is older than the other building we were looking at. So if we do a side-by-side comparison, right, we see a lot of the same features on these two buildings. Brick as the main material, flat-topped window openings, and of course, the sawtooth roof. But there is one thing that makes me think this building is slightly newer, and it's this set of windows right here. Long, unbroken rows of multi-pane windows like this became a lot more common once factories started relying on...
I wonder how they're going to try and one-up GTA 5, though. They're definitely not going to do it where you can go into every building. I think the only game I can think of where you can go into every single building imaginable in a city was like the Matrix Online. And obviously it was just all copy-pasted empty.
internal steel or concrete frames. So the brick on this building isn't the main thing
They'll probably have some kind of mechanic where you can change your weight and stuff, like a weight thing like San Andreas. They might have weapon degradation as well. I'm just trying to think how they can one-up it. They might... They might do the thing that Red Dead did, because Red Dead... I don't know how they do it, because in Red Dead 1, and I think parts of 2, apart from Saint Denis, there were so few people in each town that each one was actually a unique NPC. Similar to Bully, right? Remember Bully? Every NPC was actually unique. There were no copy pastes. Maybe in the town there were some adults that were copy pasted. I'm not sure. But the kids at the school, the prefects, the teachers, they were all individual people. They had a routine. They would go to bed. They might do something during the day, like lessons. And then if you beat them up, they might like disappear for a little bit. So they might do something like that. But doing that in a city, I just don't really see how that's feasible or possible.
holding the building up anymore. It's more just like a skin around a frame. Before that, the walls of the building actually had to help
Yeah, Bully was goated, man. I gotta play that again sometime.
hold up the building. So punching a giant hole in it for a bunch of windows.
I'm really interested how they handle GTA 6. Well, that's where they'll make the real money. So, with the shark cards, they will probably make... I genuinely think they'll probably make about... Okay, I'm pulling numbers out my ass here. But I reckon they'll probably make about 10% of the money that they make on sales of GTA 6, and the other 90% from like in-game transactions like the shark cards.
Would of course be a bad idea for its structural integrity. You'll also notice that the older building has a tiny bit of brick decoration above the windows, which was a lot more common earlier in the 1900s. Once we got into the 1920s and 30s, the Great Depression happened, and people stopped bothering to make their factories look cute, which is of course why everyone got greatly depressed. The bottom line is, this building is older than the rest of the buildings near the airport, but it's not old enough to be the new.
And then, have you noticed that the PC... will the PC version of GTA 6 come out at the same time? Have they denied that already? Will GTA 6 PC come out the same time? It probably won't. They like to double dip. Yeah, there's nothing. There's nothing. Gaming is moving towards PC. What they tend to do is they tend to purposely delay the PC release because they want people to double dip. They want you to buy. They genuinely want you to dust off your console. Yeah, but I remember with every Rockstar game, they delay the release on PC because they want you to double dip. They want you to dust off your console, buy it for PS5 or whatever, and then they want you to buy it again when it comes out on PC.
New leader. We're going to travel east along the river into the Davis neighborhood for our next stop, and this is where things start to get really interesting. You know, so far we've looked at a bunch of brick factories, but this neighborhood is predominantly filled with rows and rows of single-family houses that are all similar styles and sizes. Almost all of them are made from a material called stucco, and a lot of them have big living room windows facing the street, and they all have some sort of accommodation for a car, like a garage or a carport. All of these things are good clues that these houses were probably built in the
Don't forget the multiple remastered ports. Oh yeah, true. They're not as bad as Bethesda with Skyrim, but definitely getting there.
40s or 50s. So
holy, imagine, oh my god, dude. Imagine if they bring out GTA 6 on the original Switch. Like, imagine the frames. Holy PowerPoint slideshow.
These houses will not be in the running for oldest building in the game, but it does.
There's a special infected called the Boomer. Yeah, I know what a fucking boomer is. Thanks, mate.
It does make me wonder what could have possibly happened in the 1940s and 50s that would cause the city of Los Santos to need tons of cheap-to-build, car-friendly housing. It turns out it was a little world-shaking event called Rocket Money. Welcome to the sponsorship. The actual answer, of course, was World War II. That's right, World War II is canon in the Grand Theft Auto universe, confirmed by the architecture of Los Santos. You know, it was obviously really bad. The war, it was bad, but it...
COD 2 is such a good campaign, by the way. That was really overlooked. Everyone, like, praises Modern Warfare, like COD 4, but 2 was really good. 3 was okay. It was okay. Graphically, it was a huge step up, but...
bad. But once it was over, it did cause the American economy to do really well, so everyone was able to buy houses and cars. Hey, you know what else is good for the economy, aside from war? Budgeting your...
Yeah, I mean, overlooked now. Like, back then, obviously, everyone knew it was a good game.
Money with Rocket Money. Listen, when people you...
Wasn't COD 2 the first one with regen health as well?
No, tell you to...
COD 2 hardest difficulty when? I wonder, like, hardest Call of Duty campaign on Veteran. It has to be World at War. It has to be World at War. Yeah. That was... Dude, me doing that, like, 3 years ago... absolutely brutal. It was just the grenade spam. The grenade spam was a meme. Oh, COD 2 is actually one of the hardest. COD 2 doesn't have health regen? Yeah, it does. Yeah, COD 2 literally does have health regen. What are you talking about? Call of Duty 2, I played it as a kid, bro. It has regen health. All right, let's have a look at this. S tier. Call of Duty, yeah, the first one had health, no regen. It had no regen health, just health packs. So that makes it very hard. World at War, fair enough. World War II. Oh, there's no health regen in World War II. Damn. I didn't know that. I never played that one. All right, so we've already beat the hardest one, to be fair. Black Ops. I think I did Black Ops on Veteran. Yeah, I did. That was pretty hard. Wasn't terrible. COD 4. The original COD 4 is really hard because... the way that they coded the enemies is they infinitely respawn until you pass a certain marker in the map. So you keep killing enemies thinking you're making progress, but you're not. You have to eventually push to stop them from spawning. And that's always the hardest bit, to transition from like one bit of cover to another. You can't just stay there and camp, basically. Honestly, the best strat for that game is just throwing flashbangs and then pushing. Because you're just not making any progress otherwise. Call of Duty 2. Yeah, I mean, that's got regen. Yeah, no, your player's health will now regenerate. Yeah, fucking Google AI lying out its ass. COD 3. Yeah, that's got regen health. Modern Warfare 2. Yeah, that's right. Ramirez! Ramirez! Secure the Burger Town! Modern Warfare 3. Infinite Warfare. Never played that one. I heard it's good, though. All right, yeah. I'm done with this. I'm done with this. I still need to stream those. I need to stream those games. But I want to do it where I'm dressed up as like a World War II guy or something. I think that'd be fun.
What do? You look at them and you say, leave me alone and stop telling me what to do, which is the correct response. But when your favorite YouTuber tells you to go get a budget for your money... Zombies in GTA 5 would be slick. There's probably mods for it, right?
Are you on about like an Undead Nightmare kind of thing? I don't know why that generation, like the 360, had like such good DLC and they never fucking tried again. Anyone notice that? You had the 70s thing with Far Cry. Far Cry, the RoboCop looking one. I forget the name. God damn it. And then you had Red Dead Redemption Undead Nightmare. And then when the sequels came out, they just never bothered trying again. I mean, okay, sure, Far Cry 5 or Far Cry 6 or Far Cry 7. Jesus Christ, there's so many. You got to play as Vars again. That was cool. Blood Dragon. That's the one. That was really good. That was really good.
What do? You get...
Why didn't they make Undead Nightmare for Red Dead 2? No idea. It would have saved how shit the online is.
Rocket money. Rocket money is...
Genuinely, I think they were probably like, okay, we could make Undead Nightmare, but we probably need to put the time into making GTA 6.
An app you can get that provides a ton...
Because that'll make us more money.
...of really convenient tools.
I'm sorry. I must skip.
From after the war. But if we head down the street from the residential area, we can find some much older...
Full Richtofen cosplay for the COD streams. Okay, dude, if he's got the SS stamp, I cannot be wearing that shit, as long as you know that. Right, okay, so he's got something on his arm I don't think I'll be allowed to recreate. He's got a little thing on his... Wait, what? Okay, no, it's not. It's not the... Yeah. Okay. I don't think I could actually have that on stream. That certain... that iconography he's got on his arm. I don't think I could actually... I don't think that's allowed for some reason.
Looking commercial buildings. Let's take a look. The first one that stood out to me is Davis Electricals here, which caught my eye because of the brick along the outside, which makes it look like it could be pretty old. Wrong.
Why not? Okay.
First of all, the brick is fake. I mean, it's not fake.
How is it coward? I don't want to get banned.
It is real brick, but if you go around the side of the building, you'll see it was just
his arm is cold.
Added to the front as a decoration. And secondly, all these curvy lines and the fun layering style are part of an architectural style called Streamline Modern, which was popular in the 1930s and 40s.
I hate that architecture. You know why? It reminds me of that fucking clip I keep seeing of the founder. Okay, I have to show this because it makes me so irrationally angry. I kept being recommended this same clip over and over of the founder where he orders a burger. You guys seen this? It is the most infuriating scene you'll ever see in your life. This guy who's acting, I hope he never gets another job again. So, okay, wait, let me get to it. Let me get to it. Where's the clip? Where's the clip? I don't know why this scene makes me so irrationally angry. Michael Keaton's acting is fine. He's great. It's the guy serving him.
15 cents is your change. Here you are. What's this? Your food. No.
Okay, right. Why was this recorded in like fucking... okay. It was dog shit. Right, try and find another clip. Audio sucks. Had like Camtasia watermark. I got a point to make here. I need to find the right clip. YouTube Shorts slop clip. Yes! You get it, right? You get it! How terrible it is, man. Cancer!
It's McDonald's.
Right, this was plaguing my YouTube shorts, man, constantly. When those AI slop channels would just keep re-uploading it. Again, the guy serving him, I hate his acting so much.
Hi, welcome to McDonald's. May I take your order? Yeah, give me a hamburger and french fries and a Coca-Cola. That'd be 35 cents, please. Ready? 15 cents is your change. Here you are. What's this? Your food.
Your food! Your food! Good food!
No. I just ordered. And now it's here.
Like, is he mentally deficient? Why is he speaking like that? First of all, he looks like fucking Zac Efron. I don't know, like, is money down or something? Like, what is he doing in this film? Like Zac Efron before he had the Bogdanov surgery. Did he say burger?
You sure? All right. Where the, silverware and the plates and everything. You just eat it straight out of the wrapper and then throw it all out. All right.
I don't know why. It just makes me so irrationally angry. I don't know why. I think it's because the amount of times I've seen it on YouTube Shorts, it's just made me so angry.
Where do I eat it?
In your car, at the park, at home, wherever you like.
Okay, thanks.
Yeah, he's acting. Give that man a fucking Oscar right now. Any future Oscar Timothée Chalamet gets, take it away from him, give it to that man.
And that is not old enough to beat our Sawtooth Warehouse.
Unironically seen it over 50 times. Bro, you watch it once and it's all the algorithm recommends to you. It's all it does.
Then I saw this apartment complex down the street, which looked like it might be an old...
You voice acted in Hunt Down the Freeman. Yeah, you just got banned. Yeah, sorry, mate. Fuck off!
brick warehouse of some kind that had been repainted to use as apartments. But once I got close enough, I realized these are not bricks at all. They are cinder
Happy Chungus actor.
blocks, which
Don't look at it.
are different. And cinder blocks did not become popular.
Nah. If you keep seeing that clip like 30 times, you get very sick of it, man. The scene on its own is harmless, but it's ingrained into my brain because the amount of times I've seen it through short form slop content.
For residential construction until about the 90s.
I've seen so many Shawshank, Sopranos, and Dexter compilations and YouTube shorts. That's why YouTube shorts is cancer. Like, you know, at least Instagram has like some funny stuff. YouTube shorts is like, there's just nothing on there. It's so normie. The people that get bullied on Instagram, they go over to YouTube shorts to post on there. That's how dead YouTube shorts are.
1940s or 50s.
It's missing the awful music. No. You know what it's missing as well? The little glare, the lens flare glare effect that the Chinese bots use, so YouTube doesn't pick them up for copyright. It's missing that as well.
But there is one
Absolute cancer. Fucking die. I don't know why that gets me so angry.
building in
Thank you, Azrael, for the 24 months. Have you seen the Darkwood dev made a new game? Yeah, he spoke. He texted me last night before the trailer went out. I wanna really try and get an early build of the game, but he said it's still a ways off before it's even in a playable state.
this area that sticks out like a sore thumb. And I think it might actually be older than anything we've looked at so far. It's this one right behind me. Now I know what you're thinking. This is exactly the same.
I have rewatched the entirety of Sopranos on YouTube Shorts. I believe you as well. I believe you. And you know what the best thing is when you watch like the Sopranos on YouTube Shorts? Because they're scared of getting demonetized, they cut the clip before anything actually happens. Like Tony shoots someone or someone gets whacked. It's great. No, it's really good. It's really good.
Same type of building as the other ones we looked at. I understand why you would think that, but there
Let me install an app on my phone that just blue balls me for 7 hours straight when I'm bed rotting and scrolling.
There's one key difference here. Look at this. Look at these openings. They're arched. Now, I don't know if you remember high school physics, but if you do, you'll remember that arches are really good for
Right, someone clip that. Yada yada yada. I'm gonna go piss.
supporting structure.
Rent free.
And seeing arched openings on a brick building like this means that those arches are load bearing. These walls are holding up the structure, meaning that there's no steel frame holding up the building inside, meaning the building is from before steel frames, meaning it's extra old. Probably. Again, there's a lot of overlap with this stuff. But at the
He sounds like the evil druid. Who is that?
very least, we can probably say that this building is closer to the 1900s or 1910s
I paid like 10% attention to this video. I just molded about YouTube Shorts for like 20 minutes.
rather than 1910s or 1920s, which does mean we have officially dethroned our original building and found our new oldest building. Congratulations. I promise it's not all just going to be brick buildings. South of the Davis neighborhood is the port of Los Santos, which is another heavily industrial area. Pretty much everything here is made out of sheet metal and stucco with large post-war storage containers and complex multi-story structures with fancy HVAC installations, which is to say that none of this is older than about the 1940s. So I think the oldest building here is probably this tiny little brick building that funnily...
It's actually crazy though, like how every building actually makes sense. There aren't just buildings that are like clipping into each other and stuff.
enough has no door. This might be from the 1920s.
It's like I remember running around Cyberpunk, and especially when you go to the elevated areas where you're not meant to go, you'll notice just a lot of clipping and stuff. I mean, yeah, I kind of get it. You're not really meant to see those areas, but still.
20s or 30s. But beyond that, it's all 1950s or later, so we can move on. Next up would be this area across the river called Cypress Flats. There's a lot of cool architecture here, and it's a real mix of different eras of industrial production layered on top of one another with a lot of really fun details. I especially liked these simplified, streamlined, modern industrial buildings. Remember how we talked about that style with that electrical building? But in this case, it's sort of like they knew that this building had to be functional and serious because it's in an industrial area, but they managed to get some of that curvy design language in there. In terms of super old buildings, there is one I found that I think could be in competition, and it has one specific thing about it that I think is kind of awesome. It has most of the same features that we already talked about.
We've got an architect in chat. Thank you, Irresponsible, for the 7. The arch thing was inaccurate. That was a blocked window from the window tax being a thing.
You know, a bunch of...
Oh, I remember how they had a window tax in the UK. Did that affect America as well? That was in like the Georgian era, right? And they just bricked over all the windows so they didn't have to pay tax.
Brick and windows and...
Well, I don't know why they made that up.
Whatever, who cares? But look at this one particular thing here. You see all these little metal...
Dude, it's like... you know that guy that won all that money from Mr. Beast? He had to pay so much tax, man. It was insane. Mr. Beast winner, Jeff, tax. He had to give like half of it to the IRS. He won 10 million. Yeah, he had to pay half of it. Half of it. Half of it. Half of all of his money. Half. Half! So who won, really? The IRS did. That's insane. That is insane. Are you telling me, Mr. Beast, you couldn't have made it tax-free cash? Come on, bro. Come on, bro.
Diamond things on this building. If you live in Los Angeles or...
No, he still has 5 mil, which is amazing, but god damn. IRS moment.
California in general, you're probably...
Actually snatched. Thank you, Ezra, for the 6. I highly recommend you watch Kirana. The creator is also making Hoarder. Oh, you're on about the funny Polish ARG, right? Yeah. Yeah, one of the... my writer who helps me make main videos, he's Polish. And he was telling me all about that. It was really interesting deep dive.
Super familiar with these, but for everybody else, these are called...
Taxes are optional if you try hard enough. True.
Wall
Dude, imagine if he lived in Texas. He would have been fine.
anchor plates, and they're installed on old buildings, especially brick buildings, to prevent those buildings from falling down. And you know why people use them all the time in California? Earthquakes. So in a way, these little plates on this building might be considered evidence that Los Santos has experienced earthquakes, which is a...
Just don't pay taxes. Yeah, can they change the amount of prison time you get for evading tax? Because at the minute, it's basically the same as second-degree murder.
really cool bit of history that we just made up about GTA 5. Now, in terms of how old this building is, it's honestly probably just about as old as the one we looked at before. But because it doesn't have a sawtooth roof, I'm going to stick with the other one just because I think that's cooler. But they're probably about equal, to be honest. So at this point, we've basically looked at the
I forgot to pay my taxes. Forgot.
entire southern half of the city of Los Santos, and we've decided that the old...
I mean, why do you think the Paul brothers moved to Puerto Rico? Because there's like no tax over there. I mean, even Anomaly, the CSGO YouTuber, he moved to like Monaco because there's just no tax there at all.
This building is probably this one here, built
And that's why the property in Monaco is so fucking expensive and everyone there is filthy rich.
districts and the post-war housing developments. They think of the Hollywood Hills. They think of the grand hotels. They think of Santa Monica Boulevard. They think of the beautiful sprawling skyline. These iconic Los Angeles locations are in Grand Theft Auto 5, and they're spread across roughly 4 neighborhoods in the game: the Hills, Vinewood, downtown Los Angeles, Vespucci Beach. Now, if you've played
Unfortunately, you complimented me, so everyone's going to say self-dono now.
GTA 5 a lot, you'll know that this is really more like
YouTube Shorts has made me watch Mr. In Between. Okay, that's like the one good thing YouTube Shorts has done. That's a show everyone should watch. Everyone should watch Mr. In Between. Dude, each episode is like 20 to 30 minutes. There's only 3 seasons. Like, there is no reason why you cannot binge that show. It's really good. That's a show where things actually happen, and it doesn't take 9 episodes for something to happen.
8 or 9 neighborhoods, but I'm just combining them to
I don't answer questions.
keep the video simple. As far as the Hills, it's mostly
Are you Ray Shoesmith? I don't answer questions. You don't answer questions. Don't play Sigma music. Don't play Sigma music. Don't play Sigma.
Afternoon, sir. Are you Ray Shoesmith?
I don't answer questions. Can I help you?
We're looking for a Ray Shoesmith. Does
I don't answer questions.
he live here?
I don't answer questions.
I don't answer questions.
Okay, is there somebody here who can answer questions?
I don't answer
I don't answer
questions.
questions.
I don't answer questions.
Okay, I don't really know how to respond to that, sir.
We just spoke to a woman by the name of Petra Jenkins. She says you threatened her and tried to menace her.
Did she?
Yeah. You got anything you want to say about that?
I don't answer questions.
I don't answer questions.
Would you mind telling us why?
I don't answer
I don't answer
questions.
questions.
I don't answer
Okay.
questions. It's a really good show. He has massive character development. Like in the final season, he actually closes his fucking mouth when he's not speaking. Anyways,
made up of these iconic mansions that rich and famous people live in, including the main character of the game, Michael. And some of those mansions do have architecture that could be dated to the 1920s or 30s, like this one here, which is built in the Mediterranean or Spanish colonial revival style. I should probably say really quickly, just like with all my videos, I basically did a chaotic, underslept crash course on Los Angeles architecture over the last 2 weeks for this. I didn't go to college or anything, so make sure you check the comments down below for a bunch of people telling me how wrong I am. But yeah, there are some really cool early 20th century mansions, but nothing older than the big factory we found. So the Hills is not going to be where our oldest building is. And the area to the west, based on both Santa Monica and Venice Beach, it has some really cool architecture, but nothing older than about the 1920s or so. So unfortunately, that whole area we can say is not going to be a place with our oldest building. And then heading into downtown Los Angeles.
it'd be a building that's near a skyscraper, surely. That would make sense. I am not an architect. I made that up, but it sound convincing. That sounded really convincing.
Is where you'll find all of those fancy new skyscrapers, which obviously aren't going to win this competition, but it is fun to take a drive through this area and look at all the layers of architecture that you can find, because you can find awesome ornate stuff from as far back as the 20s and
What do you mean, no? No, you make the small buildings first to like settle, and then you make the big ones around it. That makes what?
30s.
What do you mean? What do you mean? He's onto nothing.
Super rigid uniform stuff from the mid-century period. Dark glass towers of the 70s and 80s.
90% of you telling facts is being confident. Dude, if you weren't a member for like 30 months, I'd time you up for that.
All the way through to new stuff. It's really cool. But you can also find this. This is that big cathedral that I mentioned at the start of the video. Now, at first glance, this big cathedral looks like it's built in the Roman Gothic architectural style, which is an architectural style that was popular like 1,000 years ago. Wow, a 1,000-year-old building in Los Santos. I probably don't need to tell you this, but this is not an authentic Roman Gothic cathedral. It is a recreation, a fake. Neither Los Santos nor Los Angeles existed 1,000 years ago, unless you count the indigenous people who lived in the area, which interestingly enough, I did learn GTA 5 does have a reference to the two of the tribes who lived in the area near Los Angeles, the Tongva Hills and the town of Chumash, which are named after the Tongva and Chumash people respectively. Aside from that, there's nothing downtown that would make our list, so we can consider this area finished as well, which really only leaves one area we need to look at: Vinewood. Walking around the core of Vinewood is cool because it's obviously based off of Hollywood, so you can see.
Isn't this where like everyone had their first GTA apartment when you couldn't get multiple properties? It was like the final apartment you can get before they updated the game. I think in the base multiplayer.
How many iconic buildings
God, the fucking nightmares I get from that apartment. People just camping outside with a tank. Just so unfunny.
were built in the first heyday of Hollywood in the 1920s. Every single
Dude, I stopped playing GTA 5 when the best vehicle you could get was a tank, by the way. Okay, yeah, there was a jet, but it was kind of hard to use.
block
Not like the helicopter. Thank you, Lucy, for the 16 months.
has some sort of ornate iconic theater or giant Art Deco hotel or simple
Can you mute the small little box on your left? Yeah, okay.
1920s commercial building
Wait,
that has
my
been covered or remodeled.
No, I can't mute it. It won't let me mute it. I muted it. Wait, no, I can't do it.
Over the years. If you squint your eyes, you might just feel like you're a famous 1920s eccentric like Howard Hughes. Or maybe more relatably for my audience, you might feel like you're playing the hit 2007 video game Bioshock, which of course famously featured a lot of Art Deco architecture, which was popular in the 1920s. There's also the area in East Vinewood that has...
I remember playing Bioshock. It's based off the book Ayn Rand, Criticism of Capitalism. I think it's a criticism of her book, actually. I tried to listen to the audiobook. It is the best way to fall asleep. I understood none of it.
has some of the only
Dude, that thing on Audible is like 48 hours long. I'm not even joking.
wooden structures in the city, including the oldest single-family homes in the city, and this really weird corner store that I think might be my favorite single building in the entire game, just because of how many layers there are to its history.
The flying bike. Oh yeah, isn't there a flying bike that can do missiles? I don't know, man. I have not touched GTA 5 in years.
You can go look at that on your own time, though, because none of that is going to qualify for our oldest building. But there is one thing that might qualify for our oldest building, and that's going to be way down here in this little spot near the Los Santos River. There's a plaza down here.
How's Ayn Rand a criticism of capitalism? I meant when Ken Levine did Bioshock, it was a criticism of capitalism.
And at that plaza, we can find 3 buildings: a church, a Mexican restaurant, and another Mexican restaurant. Now, the church looks old, but the window shapes are too perfectly uniform to be a real Adobe-style mission church, and those exposed beams underneath are kind of a classic fake old touch. So kind of like the big Roman Gothic church, it was probably made in like the 20s or 30s or something. But the 2 other buildings are where things get very interesting. The first one is brick. Extremely old-looking brick with lots of mortar fill-ins. You can see how there's all those spaces that it looks like they had to put a bunch of extra mortar in because of how old it is. But on top of that, look closely at the windows and tell me what you see. Not only are these windows arched, like we talked about, which could imply that they're older, it is a 3-layer of brick arch, which is even more evidence that this building doesn't have any kind of internal structure, which implies it's even older. But on top of that, the bricks themselves in the arches are hand cut. They're not all the same size, which means they weren't cut by machinery. All of these things do seem to imply that this building is even older than anything we've looked at so far. But before we decide exactly how old, let's take a look at the other building here. The second building is also made of brick. Surprise.
Good morning.
And it
I'm getting ready for work. Will be listening to while on my shift. Have some money. 3.
Thank you, Solid Nuggets, for the 10. Appreciate it.
has exactly the same age details as the other one with all the bricks and the arches and whatever. But on top of that, it also has this. This decoration around the top of the building is called dentals because they look kind of like teeth. And it is a classic brick construction decoration for buildings that are meant to look fancy or respectable, like banks or, you know, whatever, banks. So when you look at these 2 buildings side by side, which one do you think is older? The one with the fancy decorations or the one without? Turns out it's the one with the fancy decorations. Apparently, around the year 1900 to maybe 1910, brick construction, especially in the United States,
Why am I interested by this now? What the hell?
really shifted
I feel like I've just locked in.
towards simplicity and utilitarianism, but before
Brown bricks, brown bricks, brown bricks in Minecraft. Brown bricks, brown bricks.
I love building bricks with Minecraft. Building bricks with Minecraft is the best thing and the most amount of fun you can have while playing it out. I understand why all the kids are playing this game these days.
Police known as the no comment interview. Aussie icon.
The police interview known as No Comment. Thank you, Mick, for the 10. I could check that out.
Before that, people would add things like these dentals to brick buildings because they wanted to be classy and respectable rather than utilitarian and
Encyclopedic brick knowledge.
efficient. These dentals that we see on this building are a pretty good indicator that it was probably
I did lock in.
built as early as 1880 or as late as maybe 1900 rather than
Brown bricks in Minecraft.
1910 or 1920 like we've mostly been looking at, which means that this white building is almost certainly the oldest building in Grand Theft Auto 5, beating our beloved Sawtooth Factory. So, that's it. We did it. We figured it out. We've got a solid
Holy crap, teeth building 1.
list of 5 really old buildings that we found, with one that's probably the winner. But if you've been paying attention, or if you're really familiar with Grand Theft Auto 5, you might have realized that we've kind of ignored a pretty
for a
big...
while and have wanted to donate, so I can finally tell you how much I hate you. Anyways, stand still for a second. Love you.
Thank you, baby, for the 10.
thing. The rest
Drop dead.
of the game. We've exclusively been looking at Los Santos, the city itself, but there are whole towns like Sandy Shores way out in the desert north of the city that we just didn't look at. And for the most part, I don't think that really is going to matter. I knew that Sandy Shores, for example, was a rundown resort community which wouldn't have existed before the 1950s, and I figured that all the other places out here would be much the same. But when doing my final wrap-up, double checking every street to see if I'd missed any buildings or whatever, I noticed this. Welcome to Paleto Bay, established in 1898. Well,
It's
so
over.
I spent some more time combing through the entire
It's over?
town, and for the most part, there really wasn't much of note. Of course, there were some 1920s era brick industrial buildings, sure, but just lots of newer housing or commercial properties that made it seem like most of this town was built in the 30s or 40s rather than, the late 1800s or whatever. So I figured, maybe they just demolished all the buildings from back then. But then I found one building that stood out to me. And now that I think about it, it makes perfect sense. The church. Look at the church. Check.
And you sat down so long, and then you do that, and then you feel like your spine, it makes like some kind of noise, and it feels really good.
This out. You've got simple, authentic wood siding, pointed arch windows, a simple, functional bell tower. These types of rustic
You guys should try it, like genuinely. Like it really helps your back.
wood forward details combined with those tall, pointy windows and these subtle trim details all point to this church being built in an architectural style called Carpenter Gothic, which I didn't know was a thing until right now, but holy smokes, what a phrase. And Carpenter Gothic was a popular style for churches in the western United States, specifically in...
Thank you, Fisherman, for the 5. This guy's another interesting video about Saint Denis in Red Dead Redemption 2. The power grid one? Yeah, I've watched that.
the 1890s, possibly 1898. So I think we can safely say
I'm too fat, the armrest will probably break. I'm too fatty for that. Guys, why are so many people saying that? It's not that hard. You just push your arms down.
that this church is the oldest remaining building in Paleto Bay, and it was probably finished right when the town was founded in 1898. So the question for us now is, which is older? A church that we know was probably built in 1898, or a building that could have been built anywhere between 1880 and 1900? I don't know. I still think it's the Mexican restaurant, I obviously, just a bigger range, but I'm gonna let you guys hash out the details in the comment. But that's my vote, and I'm Any Austin. Thanks for watching.
So it was basically Far Cry 5 Church was the oldest building. Oh no, it was the Mexican house.